Hi, my name is Dr. Vamshi Bende. I am an internal medicine physician and a nephrologist. I am passionate about teaching people how to make healthy nutrition and lifestyle choices, as these have a very profound and asymmetric impact on one's health. There's an abundance of nutrition information all around us, but it is rarely put in a way that can be directly applied in our everyday busy lives. If you look at the data from any reputable organization like the CDC and WHO, it shows that there's been an explosion in chronic inflammatory diseases all over the world. And poor nutrition has a significant role to play in that. When one applies the principles of good nutrition and lifestyle, good health automatically follows. And this I can vouch for, given my education and experience in nutrition and lifestyle medicine. Over the past several years, I obtained nutrition certificates from Cornell and Stanford. I am also board certified in lifestyle medicine. I have applied these principles in my own life and have found success. I would like to share this knowledge so that more people can benefit from it. So let's get started. In this video, we will talk about protein. And by the end of this video, you will not look at protein and protein containing foods the same way as before. So stick around till the end. Protein. It is considered king among nutrients. I'm just kidding. There is no king, no queen in nutrients. All the nutrients are extremely important for our health. But we are protein obsessed people. And no matter how much protein we consume, we feel like we need a lot more of it. I often hear people talking about avoiding carbohydrates, avoiding fats, as these are considered bad for us, and consuming more protein, as this is considered healthy for us. But is that true? I don't think so. Let's talk about that a little more. We're going to get a little technical here, but please bear with me. The recommended dietary allowance, also called the RDA for protein in adults, is 0.8 milligram per kilogram per day. If you are a 70 kilogram person, this will translate to approximately 56 grams of protein per day, which is not a whole lot and can be easily obtained from consuming a variety of foods. The way RDA is calculated, it is not an average amount of protein required per person. It is calculated in a way that it would be sufficient for 98% of the population. When scientists did experiment about human protein needs, they put our protein needs on a graph, and what they found was that the graph was in the shape of a bell curve. The problem is that if they calculate average protein requirement from that, 50% of the population will fall above that value and 50% of the population will fall below that value. To overcome this issue, they added 2 standard deviations to the average and came up with the RDA, which is now good for 98% of the population. Because of the way RDA is calculated, someone's individual protein needs may be lower than that of the RDA. Now let's talk about protein containing foods. Unlike popular belief, protein is not just present in meat and eggs. It is present in almost every food that we eat in varying amounts. Think about a food we never expect to have much protein. Let's take the example of watermelon. If we eat just watermelon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and consume approximately 2000 calories of it, we will get more than 40 grams of protein, which is amazing. I never thought watermelon would have so much protein before I learned about this. The numbers are even more astounding if you take spinach, for instance. If you consume 2000 calories of spinach, get ready for this. You'll get a whopping 285 grams of protein. Calorie per calorie, spinach has more protein than chicken, egg, or meat. The only animal food which comes even close to spinach in protein is salmon. Spinach is a very high protein food. More than 50% of spinach calories come from protein. But spinach, unfortunately, does not get the same attention as others when we talk about high protein foods. Now that we understand how much protein we need, is there any downside to eating more protein? Well, if we consume excess protein than what our body needs, most of it will get converted to fat. I'll explain this in a little more detail as we will need to dig deeper into how all the food gets stored in our body. Carbohydrates and fats are the main fuel for our body, and we use energy from these to function and do our daily activities. When we eat, our body uses whatever carbohydrates and fats it needs immediately, and rest of it is stored. Carbs can be stored as something called glycogen, but the storage space for glycogen is very limited. Glycogen can only be stored in liver and muscles, and that storage space gets exhausted very quickly. The rest of the carbohydrates are stored as fat because fat, as much as we may not like it, is the most efficient way to store energy, which means that fat stores a lot of energy in a limited amount of space. If we were to store all our energy as glycogen instead of fat, we would need approximately 5 to 6 times more space in our body. Imagine how much bigger each of us would be if that were the case. Evolution did not want us all to be that big, so it came up with the solution of converting all of our energy into mostly fat. Fat that is obtained from our diet, which is not used immediately, gets converted to, well, fat. Protein, on the other hand, does not have a storage form, which means that all the protein we consume really does not go and get deposited in our muscles as protein. After our body uses whatever proteins it needs, the rest of the protein needs to be converted to something else for storage. And what is the most efficient way for our body to store energy? That's right, fat. So do not obsess about eating more protein, as most of it will likely get converted to fat. It is estimated that we eat a lot more protein than what's recommended for our needs. The other important issue is that all the foods that are advertised as high protein foods, like animal meats, are also associated with something called saturated fat, which is really bad for our health. It'll be much better if you are able to replace some of the protein with high quality carbohydrates and fats. Some examples of high quality carbohydrates are whole grains like oats, brown rice or semi-brown rice, and whole wheat foods. Some examples of high quality fats are nuts and seeds, olives, fish, and avocados. That's all, folks. Hope you found that useful. In my next video, I will explain how to calculate how much protein you are consuming, and we can do a little fun experiment to see if you're getting enough protein or not. You can follow me if you would like more content like this in the future. Cheers to a healthy life. Get your inner selfie right.